Now, Sammy, yeah, your uncle.
What do you want to say?
The team has changed severally too, from you can play the players you want, Champions League is not our thing, to I need the players to do this. It's been interesting. But I feel like things have become slightly... let me use the word I used on our tweet this morning. The wheels have loosened. Maybe not come off, maybe they have loosened. What has gone wrong?
Okay, I thought that the Tottenham versus Newcastle game was the worst ever they've had because they lacked all the fundamentals that they should have in a football game, or players should have in a football game. And they reacted in some sort of way against Arsenal, them trying to come back into the game. But then when you look at the Chelsea one and you look at the Arsenal game, you see some things that maybe Ange Postecoglou missed out on and probably should put into his game, and that's set-piece defending, because that has been the biggest talking point of Tottenham's conceding goals. I don't think they've kept a clean sheet this year, and most of them have come from set pieces. So when you look at it from a standpoint that this is a man who doesn't want or doesn't think that changing set pieces is going to completely change the entire team, then that's the only thing that is remaining for Spurs to change. So I'm not overly overreacting to the wheels are off. No, they are not.
But even just looking at the game, I thought this Tottenham team didn't have the spirit. They didn't have the will within them to fight. Even the
Chelsea one.
Yeah, the 2 goals they conceded, especially the Chalobah one, I thought it could have been defended. I thought this team could easily defend this goal and maybe have a chance to fight back into this game. But if you even try to think back into this fixture, when was the last time that Tottenham won against Chelsea? It was back then. Was it in the 17-18 season when Dele Alli scored the lone goal? That was the only time I remember Tottenham winning against Chelsea away. And if you think about it, maybe it wasn't for them. I think they're in a cocoon, like what Jemo is saying. I think it's done and dusted for them this season.
No, they had a chance to get into the top 4, so definitely they are not in Cancun. But yes, it's all about those fundamentals that have been lacking in the last few matches, that they're showing enough fight. So I don't know whether it's them being fatigued or it's the amount of changes that is brought into the side. I don't know, but I don't think we should overreact over this, because so far it's been a positive season for Tottenham.
I think we need to overreact.
Why?
Because where Tottenham have been gotten to at this particular time by the coach is an absolute phenomenal position. Because look at it, at the beginning of the season, before the season started, we didn't think that Spurs have what it takes to finish in the top 4.
Or even Europe.
Yeah, at some point they were top of the table.
Yeah.
So it showed that the team had quality, but of course the coach needed to be streetwise with the way he was going to navigate the season, because of course he didn't have the players, the bench.
Okay, the injuries.
The injuries did play a part, but when you have injuries, you sort of should adapt to your team a bit.
Hey, but he doesn't
and
have
I think
the
he didn't do that.
No. Not talk. Let me back up Elijah here before you go to Chep. We are not saying you have the depth. Just you can't defend on the halfway line the whole season. Just because this is my philosophy. It's just like my poor man's Guardiola. You can't defend on the halfway line throughout the whole season and then say it's my system. No, he's arguing. Change a bit, realize things are going that way. Maybe sit back a little bit, maybe drop to the edge of your box a bit, maybe once or twice. But the guy just simply says we are playing 0-1 and 1-9-1, and that's it. Whether we are up down to 9 men or we are down to 8 men, we play up. We don't change nothing. Yeah. Now, if you play like that, then people will question. Like, come on, adapt a bit. And look, guys, we think Pepe is stubborn, but Pepe is very adaptive.
Oh, for sure.
Pep adapts a lot. Like, Pep gets to a point and he decides, no, now we are keeping the ball. Okay, now we are being defensive. Uncle Ange won't.
In fact, the best example was Haaland's goal yesterday. The one, it was from Ederson to Foden, Haaland, and goal. Not too many passes. You have to be...
read the room. Anyway, Chep, go. Before I go. I have a lot to say on Spurs.
I think that that type of or style of play at the beginning of the season it makes sense, but when other teams learn how you play, they also change or adapt to how you play. And it wasn't just sustainable. And then when the injuries came, you have now to bring in players who most of the time were on the bench, were not playing. So it's difficult to execute perfectly the high line when you have a lot of injuries. But now the issue again, as James has put it, it's that ability to adapt to the situation or the players you have. As towards this, this
tail end of the
season, just
you have
adapt.
to be
Because
fluid.
through that, they've conceded a lot of goals. 3 goals, 3-0, 4-0.
Just too much.
Too many goals that they've conceded.
But I also think the mentality at Tottenham is wanting.
But even look at the lineup itself. He played Kulusevski as a 10. It just doesn't make sense. It was Son, Richarlison, and Brennan Johnson. We all know Richarlison hasn't been good playing as a 9 for Tottenham. He's been mainly deployed as a winger. Then Son plays as the lone striker. And putting up that kind of setup against such a team, especially as Chelsea, who are trying to maybe get something at the tail end of the season, I think it was just a messed up plan from the start.
Now, I opened the game to see the injuries he's had to deal with, especially like in the game to see. And our Ben Davis, Foster, Sessegnon, Solomon, Udogi, Timo Werner. I think the main guy there that you're missing is Udogi.
Yeah, Udogi.
I think he's the main guy. I think he's the guy they can say, oh yeah, we missed this one. And of course, they missed Maddison for chunks of the season. Yeah. They missed Van der Veen for a bit of the season. Yeah. Richarlison with his pubis bone something a bit for the season. My only thing is you have to adapt to what's going on, like change a bit. Like if you notice I can't keep this high line this way, it's messing me up, just try and play a bit deeper at times. Just try and change a little bit. Maybe you might stop the bleeding, maybe it's not for sure, but maybe. But Spurs play the same way throughout, do everything the same way. At times it works, at times it doesn't. Now here's the thing, on the whole I think they have done well.
Yeah.
Given they lost their best player and their captain at the start of the season and they didn't replace him. Or did they? They didn't. They signed Brennan Johnson. So I think in that context, they have done okay. What number are they last season? 7, 8?
Yeah, they didn't even make it to Europe.
Yeah, so let's assume they were 8th. I can't remember. Let's assume they were 8th. Someone can check it for me. So in that regard, I think they have done well. Okay? However, all the things that I argued about here in the first 2 months of the season are the ones which have happened now. I kept saying their fixture list was kind at the start. It helped them gain momentum. So they were punching way above their weight, but they would be brought down to earth. You remember? Yeah. We went back and forth with Sammy a lot about that. And I think they've been brought there. And exactly what has brought them there is exactly what I thought would then. And it was simply their depth. I was like, I'll be surprised if they're in the top 4. Because I don't think they have enough depth. I was like, I don't think they have enough. I think their starting 11 is as decent as you'd want, maybe. But once you are away from their starting 11, it's not there.
Yeah, they were 8th last. They ended 8th last.
So they were 8th last season.
Yeah.
So if the league was to end today, they would end the league what?
60 points.
5th. So you see, so it's an improvement. It's a huge improvement.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm like, it's a great improvement. So they've done well, given that they lost their coach. It's their best player. It's just that they are light. They are lightweight. I think they've punched above their weight, but the wheels were always going to come off at some point. Yeah. The moment Son is not getting those goals every single day, the moment something is, because all players, I felt like he got credit to him. He got his players playing at
high level,
like a maximum. Like they were all giving him like 110. They were all not overachieving, but they were all at maximum. But you see, you need a point where they stop being at maximum. But now you need some help. I think he never had the help.
Yeah, I think now in the summer they now need to spend that Hurricane money and probably just improve a few of the first 11, maybe also
Hurricane money has been spent, Chep.
Right, they spent it on who?
Who?
I think that Hurricane money has been spent.
Who?
I need to confirm, but I think they spent that Hurricane money.
No, they didn't
replace him.
No, who did they buy? Who's in the starting 11 they bought? Vicario?
Vicario Van de Ven.
Vicario Van de Ven,
That one isn't enough, is it?
No. Anytime.
I think they need at least 2 main players.
Even defenders also as well, they need to.
No, I think they just need a defender who's good backup. Like a Ben Davis, but now a centre back who's like a Ben Davis. And then left back Udogi will get well, because anytime I see Mason Royal, by the way, I know there's a problem. No offense to the Brazilian, but there is a problem.
And how about Eric Dyer? Was he sold or was it on loan?
He's on loan, but the move will be made permanent.
So
It was on loan with a view to it being permanent. Bayern have spoken very glowingly about him. Who knew? So
It might
most
be
probably he
permanent.
goes away. Plus, Ange just doesn't like him. I don't think Ange likes him.
So this is the amount of money Spurs spent in the transfer window. Brennan Johnson, 55 million euros.
Yo.
James Maddison, 46 million euros. Pedro Porro, 40 million euros. Mickey van de Ven, 40 million euros. Dejan Kulusevski, 30 million euros. Radu Dragusin, 25 million euros. Vicario, 18.5 million euros. There's a centre back, Alejo Veliz. I've never heard of him. 15 million euros. This spent
So
These are small patch-ups.
hold up. Brennan Johnson was that much, man.
Yeah. That's why he was included in the mads that Nottingham Forest gave up there.
Yo.
55.
So they spent quite a bit. Of course, it's in euros, but still, it's big money.
That's a
It's
lot
a
of
lot
money
of
for
money.
Brennan Johnson.
So
Considering
even
what
that
we saw
theory of
against
they didn't
Chelsea.
spend is a theory.
Yeah, it's a
You've
theory.
just killed it.
Yeah.
They spent money.
They spent money.
And then Uncle has changed his... You see, I told you the other day he changed his story. Did you see his quote after the game? He changed it again. Did you see it? I don't know whether I saved it. He changed it again. He switched to something else. I don't know whether I saved it. I hope I did. I hope I did. But he changed the tune again. So he's changing the tune and changing and he's changed it one more time. I don't know whether I kept it. We need change. Change has to happen. I've got to change this squad too. I've got to build a squad that I think can play our football. For that to happen, there have to be exits. We are going to play and train a certain way. That's not for everyone. Now go back to the tweet of him talking about finishing fourth is not it's not about fourth, it's about no.
Those are different questions.
Then go back to the other tweet where he said you just got to get on with it as a manager. I don't know why I didn't tweet it. Someone spoke about not having players that they need. Then he said I don't know why I didn't save that. It was shared. In fact, it was shared back to back, that one. So he said you've just got on with business. You can't keep complaining you don't have good players or the players you need.
The interview.
Yeah.
the
Yes,
latest
and then
interview
today he said no, I need to
The
change my
players.
players.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's also. I told you guys he's very nice. His quotes are great, but unfortunately at some point we have to say okay, hapa ulisema hivi, alafu hapa ukasema hivi.
Yeah.
Cut through
Why
the
you shift
noise.
the goalpost?
Hapa sasa.
Okay, I think right now he's just playing the right game at this moment in time because he's seen already what can happen when things go wrong.
So zile vitu alisema huko mwanzo zilikuwa za nini?
Those is that